Welcome back to the 2024 character modeling series for beginners in Blender. Today we're going to talk about the concepting phase. Now this is a vital part of creating a good character with a backstory. Alright, because you don't want to create a character that's just flat out, random stuff, and it's going to feel random, it's going to look random. That's not what we want. Now there's a few ways to concept a character. The most traditional way would be to sketch it out yourself, or maybe commission a concept artist to do it for you. So I'm gonna grab this character and basically put it in the universe of a open world RPG game. So the character would need a weapon and maybe like a grenade, but not a literal weapon. We have to be a bit creative. So if we look at the character is essentially an egg, right? But turned into a humanoid character. So parts of her body are egg white, parts are the yolk. I was thinking if we grab, the bacon slices, maybe make swords out of that. I feel like that would be a very Fortnite-esque approach to doing that. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna give her a spatula as her weapon, and actually looked at the spatula from SpongeBob. I don't know, because I grew up watching SpongeBob and it's iconic, I guess. So very simple spatula design. And for a bomb, I figured a salt shaker, right? She is an egg. You would use a spatula to like flip the egg, or move it around in the pan, and you put salt and pepper on your egg. So I figure a salt shaker is really nice. And for the record, if you want to follow along with the same concept, feel free to do so. In the concept art that you can download from my Gumroad for free, you will find this reference sheet, and it also includes the spatula and the salt shaker, so you can follow right along with that. If you do want to go with your own concept, make sure you model to scale. I will talk about that later on. Make sure you do find some good reference images, preferably something like front on, so a reference image from the front of the object, or from the side if you want to use multiple references. Yeah, that's basically the base of setting the concept of your character. For the record, you don't have to follow along with the exact same character. If you want to really modify this character and change the colors, or maybe you want to do a play on the whole egg thing, if you want to do like a scrambled egg or a deviled egg, or whatever egg dishes there are, or maybe it's a completely different dish. I don't know if we have to keep it in the food category here. You could do a cucumber girl or whatever, but just whatever you do, make sure you do bring it back in the concept. So if you use food or a different object, bring it back in the concept. I'm gonna go with this one though, because it's easy, and like I did say in the previous video, this series is made for beginners, like absolute beginners, so I'm not gonna complicate it too much. All right, other stuff that you could think of is what type of weapon would your character have, whatever makes sense. So if your character was a sushi with legs, I don't know, maybe chopsticks would be a cool weapon, or something like that. Just be very creative with it and use every tool at your disposal. Google, maybe ChatGPT if you're really out of ideas, Pinterest. So I'll give you one more bonus, and that will conclude this video. So it is a very short video, but in the next video we will actually start sculpting. So let me hop in Blender. Here we are in Blender, and you can see I already have a scene set up. Now your Blender will probably not look like this. You will have a default scene, right? And that's completely fine, but I'm gonna just quickly show you what this is. This is a base model, and what that means is you would use this model to sculpt on. So rather than creating a let's say a sphere, and then you create the neck and doing it that way, I'm gonna give you a base mesh for free. Also link in the description below. Just go to my Gumroad, click on the base mesh, put 0 in the checkout where you have to put the price, and just check out, and you get it for free. And you just load it in Blender by opening the blend file or file import, and you just import the FBX, and that's it. Now why did I do this? I wanted to include that because I realized for a beginner course it might be too steep to like immediately start putting the shapes out of the character, especially if you've never looked at anatomy. However, that being said, I will create the character from scratch for this tutorial series. So we will start out with a sphere and then build all the shapes from that. But feel free, it's just an option. If you want to use the base mesh, follow along with the base mesh. There's a lot that needs to be done to get to this result right here. And it just giving you a little bit extra if you can't make it. But I would highly recommend you start from scratch with me, because I will explain everything I'm doing. There are no secrets here. I'm going to give you the whole full workflow for free, Anyway, so let me show you how to set up your scene, because I think that's an important thing to do. So let me start a new scene and show you how to set up the reference images correctly. All right, here we are with a brand new scene. You've seen this, before, I'm sure. So first of all, what I'm going to do is press A, X, and delete everything because we don't need this. Press the tilde key, this one right here, or just select the gizmo and press the -Y to go into front face. You can see the top left, front orthographic. That means we're in the front view. And I'm gonna press Shift A, image, background. And I'm gonna grab the reference image that I provided on my Gumroad. Load it in, and there we are. Now the character is not the right height straight out of the box. We can test this out by creating a cube. And the cube, if you press the N key, you can bring up this menu and go to item, and you can see the cube is 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters, whereas the character is 149. We have to fix that basically. But let me first position the reference image. We want this dotted line to match with this red line over here. So I'm gonna press G, Z, and move it up. I can zoom in to do this a bit more precise. And then I also want, because this is the front image, I want this character right here to be in the middle with the blue line. So press G, X, and move it to the left. And you can hold down Shift if you want to go into precise mode. So that looks good. Now the reason we loaded the image as a background rather than a reference is because now we can move around and we don't actually see the reference, and we also cannot select it. I mean, you can select it, but like it's infinitely in the background, so we don't see it, right? It's not in our workspace, right? So let's first set up all 3 sides, and then we can scale the image up and down. All right, let's do it that way, because that'll be easier, I think. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the reference image right here or in the 3D viewer, and I'm gonna press Shift D, and that will attach the image to your cursor, and just right click, and that will put the image back. That's generally like how stuff works in Blender. And you can also name them. So I'm gonna just name the first image, double click and type front, and select the second image and double click and rename it to side. All right. Now, first things first, we have to rotate this image, right? So press R, Z, and then type in 90 on your numpad. Now, nothing will change really visually, but trust me on this one for a second. Now it's rotated 90 degrees. So if we go into the side view, again, tilde key, right, there we go. So now I want this character over here to be in the middle. So I'm going to select this image, press G and Y, and then make sure it's roughly like maybe her head is in the middle. Yeah, something like that. And last but not least, the back image. You can set this up or skip it, but I'm going to set it up anyway and show you how to do it. I'm going to Shift D, duplicate this again. And also, instead of double clicking this name in the hierarchy, I can press F2 and rename it to, there we go. So first of all, let's go into the back view. So tilde back. Now we don't see anything because we need to set it up over here on the right hand side. You notice right now it says the side is set to front, but we need to set it to back. And that's all there is to it. And now let's just realign this. Press G, X, and make sure this character aligns with the blue line. And there you go. Now we have our front view, side view. It's on the right view, by the way. If you want to set up the other side, just duplicate this. Go to the left view and set it to back. See? There you go. We got the front view, back view, and both sides now. Perfect. Now, like I mentioned before, it's not set up properly, right? The scale is off. So let's fix that. First of all, let's create a cube. So Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And this cube is in the middle, but I want it to like actually sit on this plane. So I'm gonna press G, Z, and then hold down Control while moving it up, and it will move in increments, you see? So move it up until maybe it's better from the front side view. So let me do that again. Press G, Z, and make sure the bottom aligns with the red line over here. Now the reason I'm creating a cube is because we can tell the height of the cube, right? 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters, like I showed you before. Now we need to do one more thing. We need to scale this thing down clearly, right? But if we scale it down from here, you know, you see it will scale it from this side. I wanted to scale it from the origin point right here. You see this little cursor over here? This is called a 3D cursor. If you hold down Shift and right click, you can move this thing everywhere. This is a really underused tool. Honestly, I think this tool is amazing. Using the 3D cursor for your sculpting or 3D modeling can really improve your workflow. So I definitely recommend you already use it because it will just fasten your workflow. I'm going to put this back here. Shift C to retrieve the 3D cursor. And in the top here, I'm going to select these two rings. And this will basically like set the pivot, how like right now if I rotate the cube, it's going to rotate around its own axis basically. But if I select this and turn it to 3D cursor, it will rotate around that cursor. So you can kind of see where this is going. I'm going to press S, Z, and I'm going to keep an eye out on this number right here. Now if you don't see it, if you don't see this panel, press N on your keyboard. And if you're in any of these other menus, make sure you go towards the top menu here called Item. Select your cube. And we're going to look at the Z value here. And I'm going to press S, Z, and bring it down until it says 149. And then left click. So there you go. That is the height of our character, right? If you want to see this better, press Z and go into wireframe mode. There you go. That's the top line. Now what I'm going to do is select all my reference images. Just like that. And all I'm going to do is press S and bring this down until it matches that top line. And then left click. All right. Now make sure you go back to that cursor here and set it to median point. Otherwise, it's going to do crazy stuff and you're going to be confused. So now if we go toggle between the views, we have the front view. It matches perfectly with the top line. Side view, same thing. And the rear view. So it's all aligned perfectly, right? So now I can go ahead and delete this cube. So now our scene is prepped up and we're ready to start sculpting this character. So I will show you that in the next video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the video. Again, make sure you check out the Gumroad links in the description below to download the reference image and the Sculpt base mesh. And I'll see you guys in the next video.